All right, so we have some other really interesting media news, but now we're turning to the alternative media space. So this massive streamer, previously on Twitch, xQc, put this up on the screen. He just landed a massive streaming contract worth $70 million. It's actually over the 2 years, close to $100 million to move over from Twitch, which is right now the dominant video streaming platform, over to upstart Kick, which just officially launched a few months ago. So over on Twitch, he had 12 million followers. Now he's moved over to Kick. I took a look last night. He was at like 224,000 followers. So there are many, many fewer people on Kick. But Saagar, clearly this new platform, which is owned by like Australian Bitcoin gambling concern, and had originally positioned itself as like, we're going to be the free speech alternative, kind of the way that Rumble positioned itself vis-a-vis YouTube. They are clearly making a big money play here to become a mainstream alternative to Twitch and not just a sort of like side project. And part of what I read into here, put this up on the screen from Fortune, is they think that there's a real vulnerability to exploit because Twitch pissed off a lot of their creators. The article here from Fortune says video game streamers are rebelling against Twitch's lower revenue split and moving to a 4-month-old platform run by a crypto casino operator in Australia. An upstart platform called Kick is emerging as a threat to Amazon's streaming crown jewel. I think that we're a long way from it being, a real full rival, just based on the numbers I was looking at, who's on the platform, how many people are on the platform, how much they're actually watching. But part of why they think there's a vulnerability here is because Twitch changed the revenue share with their creators, basically being like, well, where else are you going to go? You're stuck with us. Pissed everybody off. And they also have had like aggressive content moderation, quote unquote, or censorship approaches that have created some tension with some of their creators as well. So they've moved to try to smooth things over. They've like made it so they put the old revenue split back, but just for the very top creators. It doesn't seem to have done a lot to calm the waters, and xQc trying to capitalize.
Yeah, I think it's actually fascinating. One of the reasons we wanted to cover it too. We're lucky to have gamers on staff who keep us updated. I will confess, I do not game. I'm not part of like the live streaming Twitch culture, but I'm not an idiot, and I'm up enough with the times to know that this is obviously a dominant sector, specifically of people who are under the age of 25, and actually even people who are under the age of 18 who live and die with Twitch streaming and are willing to watch like 10, 12 hours a day. What's fascinating to me about the development here is the way that their content moderation standards has not reached the same scrutiny that YouTube and other, I guess, more established forces, people like us or the other political YouTubers who we all might know, like we're long, and most of our audience at this point is familiar with the content moderation issues, but I have seen people like Hassan get taken off for some ludicrous reason in the past. I've seen other political, people who I don't even necessarily know them, but I'll see it bubble up in my feed about, oh, they were taken down for the X reason. It's totally ridiculous, capricious. Their content moderation standards are ludicrous. And of course, we need to pay attention to that. If the newer generation is watching their stuff on Twitch, on this platform, then obviously how political discourse on that platform is moderated is going to be very important for the future, especially as these people come to vote, but also as a source of entertainment as well. I mean, this is the new source of entertainment for a huge portion of not just our youth, but really global youth. I find that interesting too in gaming media, that part of the reason they're able to command such high like dollars is that it's not just like American teenagers are watching, it's like Indian teenagers, Filipino teenagers, really like anybody who speaks English across the entire world who are also playing the same games on the same platforms, and then watching people kind of both play those games, talk about those games, and then also see some of it bleed into political commentary. So the fact that this is happening is very interesting. And also our producer Griffin was telling you, Krystal, about what it also may mean in terms of Amazon and its bet for the future, why they may not be as upset as you might think about this deal.
Yeah, so on the business side of this, number one, I think the mainstream press is going to start taking a lot more note because of the dollar figure.
Yeah, you have to. Right.
When you're talking about $100 million, I mean, just to put in context, this is the way New York Times described it. This is like the type of money that LeBron James gets. This is like top tier superstar athlete type of money. So $100 million is real money that's being thrown here at a top creator. So I do think they'll start to pay attention a bit more because, they pay attention to money. The other piece that's interesting here, though, is Twitch is owned by Amazon. Okay. Now, it appears, we don't have Twitch's revenue stream and their net profits or whatever broken out to know for sure, but it appears that Twitch is not even profitable. So for Amazon, this global behemoth, Twitch is not even all that important. What they care a lot more about are like the cloud computing services that they sell and the technology that they sell also that enables video streaming. And interestingly, put this next piece up on the screen, and again, thanks to our producer Griffin for flagging this, Kick is actually built on the Amazon Web Services video streaming platform. This individual, Blake Robbins, on Twitter goes on to say, Kick is quite literally subsidizing Twitch by paying to use the Twitch video system via Amazon Web Services. It also explains how and why Kick has been so stable relative to their growth and scale. So basically the point here is if Amazon wants to kill Kick, it can at any time by just pulling the cloud computing services, pulling the video streaming services. But why don't they want to do that? Well, because they're much more interested in having an overall monopoly over these services and growing out this highly profitable business than they are in really investing in Twitch and caring what happens there. Put this next piece up on the screen from Rich Cabrera. He says, here you are, for all those that think AWS is the only cloud service provider, only 9% more than Azure. And by the way, YouTube and all Google services run on Google Cloud. But the big thing here is you have a chart that shows you cloud market. AWS dominates, then comes Azure, then comes Google Cloud. So this is the much bigger business for Amazon, and they're much more committed to being the monopolistic player in this sphere as they are in other spheres than they are ultimately to protecting their asset in terms of Twitch video streaming.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see it from that perspective and just be like, oh, well, maybe they don't care because as long as they own basically the pipes of the internet and of all of live streaming, they're like, okay, whatever. I'm curious to see how this plays out. I had been looking into a lot with YouTube gaming. I know, obviously, we care a lot about YouTube. It's the platform that we were born on, even though we exist on several others, including especially the podcast platform. We've seen a lot of success. With YouTube, they are investing many of their tools in terms of gaming and in terms of live gaming reaction, the chat features, the bot features, your ability to do super chat. All of that is not built for people like us. It's built for gamers.
Right.
And that I didn't know is that gaming has actually been multiplying by YouTube almost by like 100 and 200% per year in terms of the traction. So it's a growing, massively growing audience.
Oh, yeah.
As people, especially younger kids, get onto YouTube and are watching and consuming that content. It may feel saturated, but it's really not. It's actually still skyrocketing. It may actually be, as seeing with the dollars here, the next multi-$100 billion industry that people in the mainstream really don't pay a lot of attention to.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do here.
I mean, my 10-year-old son, who loves all this stuff, he and his bestie got together this weekend and they were talking about their favorite streamers and YouTube creators. I mean, and it's a whole other world. This is the other part is just like the fragmentation of media and how xQc can be the biggest streamer in the world and like many, many millions of people have never heard of him. And he can command this type of money. So anyway, it's a fascinating development for a lot of reasons and something to keep an eye on and to see whether Kick is able to, put any sort of challenge up to Twitch. I'm sure other creators will be looking very carefully at what happens here with xQc getting this many millions of dollars.
That's right.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.